What is up, people? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the Respawn Recap. If you guys notice a bit of a difference.
Slight change. slight adjustment.
It's actually Zan from the podcast. Nicky Boy needs a little bit of rest, but either way, the show does go on. Zan, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Your first ever recap, bro.
Yo, I'm excited. I'm pumped. Although I'm just visiting. It's exciting.
Yeah, let's get into it. And of course, Zan, we got to talk about this one, that being...
Can't be avoided, honestly.
Yep, it really can't be looked past either. That being FaZe Banks, we brought to light this past week. Actually, thanks to a viewer. We say this time and time again. Thanks to all the viewers who send us stuff. But it was actually on a podcast out there with FaZe Banks, who after 4 years of accusations around the gambling site known as CSGOWild, out of nowhere came out and said that he owned and ran the site, apparently him alongside other FaZe members, as FaZe members were gambling lots of money on that same website. Obviously, a pretty crazy telltale and a pretty crazy full circle for a lot of people out there from the CSGO scene. And it was just so nuts how he casually dropped it, you know?
Yeah, after years of denying it, I think that's what surprised people the most. Is that because everybody remembers the story of CSGOWild. That was one of the first huge sites to get like hit. And everybody's like, oh, that site's problematic, got to get rid of it. And there was denials for years and years from Banks and everybody else in FaZe, and now all of a sudden he's like, yeah, so, you know, I was involved, maybe.
It wasn't in the way, it wasn't like a, it was like a hardcore, kind of like a very, very strong
I was trying to cut him some slack, you know? I was trying to
but I've seen, obviously, so many tweets about this, so many people talking about it. His demeanor and just the way he just, out of nowhere, out of the blue, was so solid about it. Went into detail too, grave detail about, you know, exactly what happened, the whole Antigua move and everything. And now we see the FaZe backlash. I had a lot of DMs from a lot of FaZe fans out there who are obviously I don't know, somehow mad at us for this. And
well, I mean, it's not like, you know, you're just reporting on what Banks said.
Yeah.
I mean, homie even went into details about how much he spent on the car that he was driving around in Antigua at the time. Like, what are we supposed to do with that?
And to wrap it all up as well, then we have FaZe Rain saying that Banks just misworded it all. So at this point, it's kind of just...
That'd be the biggest miswording I've ever heard of in literally my entire life.
A very, very strong miswording. We'll keep you guys posted on FaZe Clan.
All right, Jake, we have a story that's lighting the League of Legends world on fire this week as legendary streamer, huge member of the League of Legends community, Voyboy, dropped a 10-minute video basically calling out Riot for their poor handling of toxicity over, especially in the recent seasons. He says that the last 5 or 6 months or so of League of Legends have been the most toxic he's seen over his 10 years of playing the game. And he's disappointed at this point. He feels that no player really is worried enough about catching a ban or, you know, getting punished in any way by Riot for griefing or just, you know, otherwise ruining the game for anybody, short of dropping straight profanity in chat. Riot has responded now and said basically, hey, we're looking into it, but we've heard that before, and who knows what that means at this point.
Yeah, and I think it really sparks, at least to me, the way I looked at it. We've seen the troubles when it comes to North American League of Legends, and I think the whole solo queue issue only adding to that. I thought it brought to light a great point as well, the whole voice comms discussion, right? Like the fact that League of Legends, of all games out there, there are a few that don't have it, but it's weird to see Valorant. I think I Will Dominate mentioned this really good point. It's weird to see a Riot Games game like Valorant, which is trying to compete in the FPS scene and reach the notoriety that League of Legends has, but they at launch they have, you know, voice comms, which aren't directly related to toxicity, but certainly play a role.
Yeah, they're definitely a factor. I feel like at this point, Riot needs to do something, and they need to do it soon before it gets any worse.
Riot Games toxicity, will it take over League of Legends? Will it take over Valorant?
Balls in Riot's court.
And another top figure for an esports organization, one of the biggest in the world, TSM, the president being Leena. We saw this past week while on her boyfriend's stream in the background. We hear her reveal some pretty crucial information. At least some people think it's, you know, pretty bad stuff to say about another player, that being Dardoch, on Doublelift's stream. Now the entire gaming world, or at least a large portion of the League of Legends scene, has seen a TSM president. Meanwhile, Dardoch, one of their very own members, by the way, literally say that no one wants to pick up this player.
That would be brutal to hear for anybody, especially from the president. Like, that is like, that's soul crushing.
I can't help but think about from Dardoch's shoes.
Yeah, right? That must have been such a tense call with Reggie afterwards, like where he was just like, I'm so sorry she did that. And Dardoch's like, well, I mean,
like,
that's
what do you say? Like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, it just ruined my negotiations potentially. That's fine.
And I understand the angle, but I hate the take that people are saying, oh, well, if he was a better player, like, people would want him, so it's not that big of a deal. Or he's been struggling with toxicity, so, like, you know, everyone already knew that no team wanted him. That does not matter.
Yeah, that's completely separate from this situation.
Like, let that be in his own control, right? The fact that someone else added on another thing against him that was out of his control, that is also his employer, that's the issue. And I'm glad that most people get that.
Yeah. Most people.
Most people, but just like with the FaZe stuff, right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
people
of
just
course.
will not see that side of things. You got to understand how to explain both angles. The crazy part is we have a top figure in esports bashing their own player whilst trying to sell and get rid of that player. And so we'll see what comes of this. I'm sure it'll be plenty. And you know, it's one thing to have the Tfue and Ninja beef. You know, like it's absolutely, it's very entertaining at the very bottom line.
At this point, is it even? It's just like they just keep
beef.
saying the same thing over and over again.
It's a lot of, honestly, a lot of people probably overlook a lot of the things these guys have said back and forth to each other, the accusations they have made, especially Tfue towards Ninja, that were never really covered. This beef does continue, even more so who you don't want against you on top of Tfue is when xQcOW joins Tfue in roasting Ninja for the foreclosing of homes.
That's a dynamic duo you don't want to face up against.
If you guys have not seen this, imagine, right? You know all these figures have fanboys. Even Ninja has a lot of diehard fanboys. Take Tfue fanboys. You don't want them in your DMs.
Oh, of course not.
Then you add xQcOW. Like, I mean, I
That's
really,
a firestorm headed your way.
It's literally a pretty bad combination. If you guys have not seen this, of course, the outburst coming from Mixer jokes. Ninja made the joke.
I can literally purchase the bank that your house is being loaned out to, right? Your mortgage that you're paying, and fucking foreclose your house.
It was a heated joke about foreclosing people's homes.
It was a little extra, but you know.
xQcOW on Fortnite playing alongside Tfue, then they both gang up on the guy. I cannot imagine the replies and DMs that Ninja gets from this so-called beef.
I'm sure he doesn't even manage his DMs
there's no
like
chance.
at this point specifically for that reason.
If I get so sad reading a few bad comments, I can't imagine what kind of comments he gets. But we'll definitely see where this one leads. It's very interesting to see, though, of all the streamers and personalities, we are seeing some underlying sides being taken, and the new side now is Tfue and xQcOW. And a culmination of two of the other stories, of course, that being top figures, not only FaZe Banks, which we're more used to seeing for controversy,
absolutely,
right? Definitely one that kind of usually gets away with it, I would say. And then joining that all within the same couple of days, that being TSM Leena, we are now seeing several top figures. I feel fair to say this, it may be riding the line of many top figures out there asking Leena to step down, whether it's Thorn, Richard Lewis, Monte Cristo, many others out there probably think she should be relieved of her duty, or at least her connection to the League of Legends roster. Vice versa, now we have people like xQcOW from ESPN Esports calling out FaZe Banks to see the door. And like I said before, all of this happening within about 48, 72 hours.
Yeah, and it's wild because, like you mentioned, Banks has had tons of controversy over the years, but I don't think I've ever seen people this focused on Banks, you need to leave FaZe.
I've never
or you
seen
need to
it.
step down, you know?
I've never seen it.
Yeah, despite everything. It's usually like, it's Banks. That's
yeah,
fine.
like, oh, it's FaZe. Like, FaZe up, like, blah, blah, blah. But it's very interesting to see the final turn, especially when the way he did it. And I've never seen xQcOW turn like an angry ear. Is that that's not a saying? I'm gonna get roasted. turn an angry something.
I don't know that turn an angry anything is. Yeah. See, that works.
Yeah, he's usually a very just, you know,
reserved. He's usually reserved. Yes.
Definitely kind of plays the fair line and never really I would say gets after this kind of thing. And so to hear him say that FaZe Banks should see the door, it was kind of like I was watching that.
In any situation, this is the one though, because I mean this is like pretty bad. On
obviously
like
involving
potentially
a bunch of minors and of course potential scandals and scams. Yeah, it's just crazy to know that we will probably never see a time like this, at least not, hopefully not for a long time, where two top esports figures are both being asked to step down, and both likely will not. As per usual, we hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you for riding with us on this Respawn recap with Zane as a fill-in. Thank you, Zane.
Thanks for having me. It was fun visiting you.
It was very much appreciated seeing you yet again. Nick hopefully will be back next week for the next Respawn recap, guys, as he rests up. As per usual, though, thank you all for watching, for sticking with us, for subbing, for commenting. You guys are the best. Until next time, bye.